Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today's Tuesday, September 26, 2023. We'll start today's show by recapping the Monday night games from yesterday, and then we'll recap yesterday's baseball games, look ahead to today's games. We have the WNBA playoffs to talk about. For tonight, we have a couple of game twos. We have soccer. We have a bet for the portfolio, NFL power rankings as we head into week 4, news and notes, and best bet. We'll start with Monday Night Football. Doubleheader. Neither game was really great per se. The Eagles defeat the Bucks 25-11, so best bet cashes. Tampa's 3-0. Philly's 3-0, Tampa's 2-1. Jalen Hurts 23 of 37, 277 yards, a touchdown and 2 picks. Baker Mayfield was not good, 15 of 25, 146 yards, a touchdown and a pick. And then the Bengals defeat the Rams 19-16. Joe Burrow plays since he's 1-2. So are the Rams. Joe Burrow 26 of 49, 259 yards and a pick. And Matthew Stafford 18 of 33, 269 yards, a touchdown and 2 picks. So the Bengals get a much needed win on Monday Night Football. All right, now we'll move on to Major League Baseball. We will go over the results from yesterday's couple games and look ahead to a larger slate for today. Makeup game from Saturday. Yanks over the Diamondbacks 6-4 as the Yankees win their final home game of the year. D-backs bad loss. Rangers over Angels 5-1 as the Rangers get closer to clinching the playoffs in the AL West. 2.5 games up on the Astros and 4 up on the Mariners. So looks like Texas is going to win that division. And then the Astros defeat the Mariners 5-1. The Astros, a game that they desperately needed. Justin Verlander stepped up big time. Throwback performance for him. And then the Giants defeat the Padres 2-1 as the Giants and San Diego are both not eliminated yet. Somehow the Yankees are eliminated, but not San Diego, and San Francisco makes sense to me about that. That's because the Yankees are in a better league this year, despite the NL having, in my opinion, the clearly 2 best teams in the Dodgers and the Braves, but the AL's the deeper league. All right, today's game, subletter game 1, 3 o'clock, Dodgers-Rockies. TBD and Chase Anderson. I don't think that this line is posted yet, but we will see. It is actually. Dodgers minus 230, Rockies plus 190, over under 12.5, overs minus 104, unders minus 118. Dodgers minus 1.5 is minus 156, Rockies plus 1.5 is plus 130. I like the under, even though Chase Anderson's pitching. 6 o'clock, Reds Guardians. So the Battle of Ohio. Reds need the game. It's Hunter Green and Lucas Giolito. Guardians are favored minus 116. Reds are minus 106. Over under 7.5. Minus 110 each way. Reds minus 1.5 is plus 160. Guardians plus 1.5 is minus 194. Oh my God. Reds in the over. Same game parlay. But if I had to pick one, it's the Reds because they need the game. 6:30 Nats O's. So these old rivals going at it. Josiah Gray and Kyle Bradish. Is that called the Beltway? Yeah, the Beltway series. I was right. Between the O's and the Nats. The O's are minus 255. The Nats are plus 210. Over under 7.5. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Nats plus 1.5 is minus 105. O's minus 1.5 is minus 114. The O's are on the verge of clinching the American League East. They are 2.5 up on the Rays right now. They clinched a playoff spot already. So part of me wants to hedge and take Nats run line. But I think I'm safe with this big bet, and I'm going to take the over. Royals Tigers. Zach Greinke and Reese Olson. Tigers minus 164, Royals plus 138, over under 7.5, overs minus 112, unders minus 108. Royals plus 1.5 is minus 160. Tigers minus 1.5 is plus 130. I like the over. There's going to be a lot of overs that are going to hit within the last week of the season. Pirates, Phillies. Mitch Keller and Aaron Nola. Phils minus 162. Pirates plus 136. Over under 7.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Pirates plus 1.5 is minus 160. Phils minus 1.5 is plus 132. Did the Phillies clinch yet? No. The Phillies have not clinched a playoff berth yet, which is amazing. They're on the verge of clinching one. I like the over here too. 7 o'clock, Yanks, Blue Jays from Toronto, Michael King and Kevin Gausman. Michael King's pitched very well since entering the rotation. He's probably going to be a starter for them next year. Jays minus 168, Yanks plus 142, over under 7, overs minus 122, unders even money. Yanks plus 1.5 is minus 156, Jays minus 1.5 is plus 130. This is a hard one, but I like the under. And Gausman, this is probably his last start, unless he pitches on Sunday too, but he probably isn't passing Garrett Cole for the Cy Young. A couple bad starts cost him that. Marlins, Mets. Braxton Garrett and Joey Lucchesi. Marlins are favored minus 126. Mets are plus 108, over under 7.5. Overs minus 106, unders minus 114. Marlins minus 1.5 is plus 132. Mets plus 1.5 is minus 160. I'm going to go with the Mets as a dog at plus 108. I know the Marlins need the game, but Lucchesi's been pretty good this year. You know somebody's going to play good spoiler. Rays, Red Sox from Fenway. Zach Eflin, Tanner Houck. The Red Sox are eliminated. Rays still playing for a division crown. Although it's a long shot. The Rays are minus 134. The Red Sox are plus 114. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 102. And there's minus 120. Rays minus 1.5 is plus 125. Red Sox plus 1.5 is minus 150. I'm going Rays run line because I just feel like the Red Sox are a team that's kind of mailed it in. 7:20 on TBS, Cubs, Braves, monster game. Justin Steele, Bryce Sadler. The Braves are minus 142. The Cubs are plus 120. Over under 9.5. Over even money. Unders minus 122. Cubs plus 1.5 is minus 170. Braves minus 1.5 is plus 140. The under's over juiced. I wouldn't lay that much money or that much juice for an under. But an under I do like in the game is under Braves runs, under 4.5 plus 140 because of how good Justin Steele's been. But if he shits the bed, I'm the jinx. 7:30 D-backs, White Sox. Zach Davies, Jose Urena, big games for Arizona as they look to clinch. Losing that series to the Yankees was not ideal. D-backs are minus 138. The White Sox are plus 118, over under 9, minus 175. D-backs minus 1.5 is plus 114. White Sox plus 1.5 is minus 137. Oh, over, no brainer. A's, Twins. Paul Blackburn and Bailey Ober. Twins minus 130, A's plus 190, over under 8, overs minus 122, unders even money. A's plus 1.5 is minus 108. Twins minus 1.5 is minus 111. Twins aren't playing for much. They need to rest people as they get ready for the wild card series, so I like the under. Next is Cards, Brewers. Again, Zach Thompson and Adrian Hauser. The Brewers, I don't think have clinched their division yet. Oh, no, they did clinch. They clinched a playoff berth. They did not clinch the division yet, so they're still playing for a division crown. The Brewers are minus 162. The Cards are plus 136. Over under 8. Overs minus 118. Unders minus 104. Cards plus 1.5 is minus 162. Brewers minus 1.5 is plus 114. The Brewers did meet good. The other week, these games are exactly 20 games apart in the standings, which is insane. I'm going to go with the under, but I don't feel good about it. 8:30 doubleheader game 2, Dodgers, Rockies. Bobby Miller and TBD. Dodgers minus 240, Rockies plus 194, over under 11.5, minus 125. Dodgers minus 1.5 is minus 156. Rocks plus 1.5 is plus 130. I like the under a lot. Rangers, Angels at 9:30. Cody Bradford and Reed Detmers. Rangers minus 164. Angels plus 138. Over under 9. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Rangers minus 1.5 is minus 106. Angels plus 1.5 is minus 113. Rangers need the games. I'm taking them on the run line minus 106. Padres Giants 945. Seth Lugo and Kyle Harrison. Padres minus 124. Giants plus 106. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 108. Unders minus 112. Padres minus 1.5 is plus 130. Giants plus 1.5 is minus 156. I don't feel good about it, but I like the under. And then last but not least, 10 o'clock, Astros Mariners, monster game on TBS. So good for TBS. For picking this. Christian Javier and George Kirby. I don't remember them doing doubleheaders later in the year, but that's pretty cool. The Mariners minus 140 at the Ace. The Astros are plus 120 over under 7.5. Overs minus 120. Unders minus 102. Astros plus 1.5 is minus 182. Mariners minus 1.5 is plus 150. The Mariners need the game. The Astros won last night. The Mariners badly need the game. I do like the under a little bit, but I'm going to lay the 1.5 with the Mariners only because they need the game. Before we move on, I want to talk about clinching scenarios for today. So, the Braves won their division already. The Dodgers won their division already. So, I'm trying to find, clinching scenarios for today. So the Phillies can clinch a wild card tonight. So the Orioles' magic number to clinch the AL East is 3. The Rangers' magic number to clinch the West is 4. So, that's that. So, we're not going to see those two teams clinch maybe until tomorrow. Phillies can clinch tonight. So, that's really all. Major League Baseball magic numbers. So the Orioles to clinch the AL East, it says 4. I thought it was I thought it was 3. That other website said it was 3. And in Texas, they said Texas was 4. Yeah, so the O's is 3, the Rangers is 4 for their divisions, and then Phil's can clinch tonight. So we'll see what happens. We gotta move on. WNBA playoffs. We did a lot of baseball today because with the playoffs coming up, we want to talk a little bit. So WNBA, we have 2 game 2s tonight. It's of importance. 8 o'clock ESPN. Ryan Rucco, Rebecca Lobo on the call. Sun Liberty from Barclays Center. The Liberty absolutely have to win this game. No excuses. They need to be treated like a New York team. They have to. They are the best team in New York sports right now. They have to be treated like one. They're giving 8.5. Total's 161.5. The number's high. I would make this so the Sun are 3-1 in the playoffs. The Liberty are 2-0. So it's kind of even percentage. And I would make this 5. I'm actually going to take the Sun getting the points again. I don't think the Sun will win. I just think they're going to cover. I think the Liberty do win. I think we're getting value here on the Connecticut Sun. And then 10 o'clock on ESPN, you have the Aces and the Wings, Game 2. The Aces are 3-0 in the playoffs. The Wings are 2-1. The Aces are giving 10.5 totals, 175.5. I'm going to lay the points. I think they at least get the 2 at home. They're better than the Wings. So I'm going to lay the 10.5 with the Aces in that fearsome group against the Dallas Wings. All right, on the soccer, we do, I think, have Champions League games today. And then we do have other games to go over. But I know we also have soccer in other leagues today, too. So, ELC from yesterday, Coventry Huddersfield, 1-1 draw. So, Champions League is next week. So, that's my mistake. So, I know today we have a lot of the leagues. Not EPL, though I think it's Liga. Yes, we have a Liga today. 9 o'clock, Guadalajara and Mazatlan. Guadalajara should win. They're better than Mazatlan. Let's look at how the odds makers have it set up. We have some Serie A today, too, so that's rare for a Tuesday. Guadalajara is minus 210. Mazatlan's 5-1. The draw is 330. I like under 2.5 goals, minus 112. No Bundesliga. La Liga we have today. We have 2 games. 1 o'clock, we have Sevilla and Almeria. Neither of these teams are good, if you ask me. Sevilla's minus 180. Almeria is 470. Draws 3-1. I'm going with the draw 3-1. That's easy. And at 3:30, you have Mallorca and Barcelona. So, Barcelona's on today against a weaker opponent. They're minus 240. Mallorca 7-1. The draw's plus 310. For this one, I am going to go with over 2.5 goals at minus 118. We have one Serie A today, 2:45, Juventus and Lecce. Both teams are doing great, so this is a great game for this league. Juventus is minus 20, Lecce 6-1. The draw is 310. I'm going to go with the draw at plus 310. We have League One today, too. 3 o'clock, we have Lille and Reims. So the odds here, Lille minus 120, Reims is 290, draws 260. So Lille's in 10th. And Reims in 12th, so they're about even. So I'm going to go with the draw at plus 260. And do we have Dutch Eredivisie today? We have Dutch Eredivisie tomorrow, so we got to remember that. For the show, I know we do not have NWSL. MLS is we have a couple MLS games tomorrow, a couple of makeup games that were postponed because of not CONCACAF, but the tournament that they played with Liga MX. They have a couple games tomorrow, so we'll remember that. And then USL tomorrow. So that's pretty much it for soccer. Now we'll move on to the portfolio. So one of our baseball portfolio bets we made before the season just hit, and that was the under in under 82.5 wins for the Los Angeles Angels. So that was a portfolio bet I gave out in the baseball preview show. I like to go big or go home. You guys know that. A season that is starting soon is the NHL. I want to look at some futures for hockey without tipping my hand in terms of my predictors. So there's a team that has crazy odds to win its division. This team was in the Stanley Cup final a year ago. The Florida Panthers are 5-1 to win the Atlantic Division. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with that? And then the other one I like, in terms of a long shot futures, the Calgary Flames at 8-1 to have a bounce back season. The Seattle Kraken are 11-1 to win the Pacific. They were awesome last year. So the portfolio pick I'm going to make, I'm going to lay a fifth of a unit on the Seattle Kraken at 11-1. Actually, no, I'm going to go. I don't know how much to lay on it. A quarter or. Yeah, we'll do a quarter unit on the Kraken at 11-1 to win the Pacific Division. They were really good last year. They're only going to get better. They have a lot of young talent. Matty Beniers is great. I'm not saying the Kraken are going to win this division. But at 11-1, like, that's crazy. This was a team that made the second round of the playoffs last year. I mean, Florida at 5-1 is great value too to win the Atlantic. Calgary at 8-1 is good value to win the Pacific, but the best value on the board is the Kraken at 11-1 to win the Pacific Division. I'll have that be the portfolio pick for the day. All right, the power rankings for NFL. So I have a different theme for this week. Young players who haven't been paid yet that I wouldn't be shocked in a year or two if they're on a different team. This could be because of potential underperformance. It could be because the player is good, but they can't afford them because of other great players that they have to pay. Or the team's bad and they might trade him at the deadline. So I'm going to go from 32-1 as I do each and every week. And boy, did the power rankings look different this week. Number 32 is the Chicago Bears. They're 0-3. Terrible blowout lost to the new Taylor Swift fan club. Or I should say the new Kansas City Chiefs fans, a.k.a. the Swifties. But yeah, those two, those fan base and the Swifties are combining now, as we know. All right, so they play the Broncos this week in what I think is maybe the worst game of the season. And the player that I think could be on another team within the next 2 years, this is probably the biggest name on here, Justin Fields. He's been awful for the first 3 weeks. I know he has a lot of potential, but the case here is that the Bears have 2 first-round picks, and both of them can be in the top 5. They can thank Carolina for that. So they have not 1 but 2 shots at Caleb Williams. So I don't think Justin Fields is going to be on that team next year or the following year, but if anything. Or maybe, who knows, maybe they trade back and keep Fields if he turns around, but I'm going to say Justin Fields. Number 31 is the Denver Broncos. They're 0-3. They got smashed by Miami. I almost put them at 32, but the Bears are just a joke at this point, and that's why they're at 32. They play the Bears in Chicago this week in the worst game of the year. And the player that I think could be gone in a year or two is Jerry Jeudy. Always hurt. He didn't get paid yet. So I'm going to say it's Jerry Jeudy. Number 30 is the Carolina Panthers. They're also 0-3. They are coming off a loss in Seattle. Coming up, they host Minnesota in the battle of 0-3s. So there's two 0-3 versus 0-3s this week, which is funny. And the player that I wouldn't be shocked is on another team next year, the following year, is Chuba Hubbard. I mean, Brian Burns is a good one too, but I think they paid him. Brian Burns would be the ballsy pick. But yeah, Brian Burns was drafted in 2019, so the part of this exercise is that you have to be drafted in the 2020s, and he was not. So that's why he's disqualified from this exercise. I forgot to mention that earlier. You have to be drafted in the 2020s to be a part of this exercise. So Chuba Hubbard's my pick here. Just that running backs are expandable. And maybe he's traded at the deadline, or maybe he's on another team down the road. Or maybe the Panthers blow it up, like I said. 29 is the Arizona Cardinals. They're 1-2 on the year, coming off the win over the Cowboys. Coming up, they're at San Francisco. The guy that I think could be on another team within the next 2 years is Rondale Moore. Maybe he's traded. Or maybe they can't afford to keep him. So down the road, because they're probably gonna win the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. So that's that, and then they have other young guys that they might want to keep over Rondale Moore. Number 28, the Houston Texans are also 1-2, coming off the win over the Colts. Next up for them, they host the Steelers in what is an interesting game. And the guy that I think could be on another team in the next 2 years is Dameon Pierce. Again, running backs are expandable, and they have a lot of young guys to pay. They're going to have to pay Stroud. They're going to have to pay Will Anderson. And I think that they're still paying Laramie Tunsil big bucks too, so I think Pierce could be expandable. Number 27, the Washington Commanders. They're 2-1 on the year. I almost said that they're 1-2, but they're 2-1. They're one of the worst 2-1 teams I've ever seen. They got destroyed by the Bills last week. Maybe I'm salty because I picked against them. I'm sorry, I picked them. I picked against the Bills and picked them, and it bit me in the ass. And coming up for the Commanders, they're at Philly. And the guy that I think could be on another team within the next years is Jahan Dotson. Maybe they end up paying Chase Young. We'll see with the quarterback position. And then they have all their guys on the D-line. And then Jamin Davis, I think they may want to keep. So I think Jahan Dotson's expandable. Although Antonio Gibson probably is the correct answer here. Number 26 is the Las Vegas Raiders. They're 1-2 on the year, coming off the loss at home against Pittsburgh. And coming up for Vegas, they're at the Chargers. The guy that I think could be on another team within the next years is Trayvon Moehrig. He was someone that was drafted by the previous regime, if I'm not mistaken. And they're paying Garoppolo, maybe a future quarterback down the road, Max Crosby. So, and maybe they pay Nate Hobbs, so I could see Moehrig being somewhere else. Number 25 is the Minnesota Vikings. They're 0-3 on the year, coming off the ridiculous loss against the Chargers. They're the best 0-3 team I've seen in a while, the Vikings. And then coming up for them, they're at the Panthers in a game they absolutely, absolutely must win, or else I don't know. And then the guy that I think will be on another team in the next 2 years is KJ Osborne. He's currently their number 3 receiver. I know they love Addison. Jefferson's going to get paid. They have to take care of Christian Darrisaw, so I think Osborne's the lone guy out. Number 24 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're 2-1 on the year. They're coming off the loss against the Eagles. Somewhat competitive game for a little bit. And coming up for the Bucs, they are at the Saints. And the guy that I think will be on another team within the next years is a guy that has played well so far this year, Rachaad White. So they have to pay Tristan Wirfs. They have to pay Antonio Winfield. And there's a lot of guys that are still getting paid on this team, big bucks. So I could see Rachaad White being the guy out. Number 23 is the Los Angeles Rams. They're 1-2 in the year, coming off the loss against the Bengals. Coming up next for the Rams, they are at Indy. And the guy that I think they won't get the bank from the Rams is Kyren Williams. He's been good so far this year. Again, running backs are expendable, and maybe he's traded at the deadline. Number 22 is the New York Football Jets. 1-2 in the year, coming off the loss against New England. Coming up for them, they play the Kansas City Swifties on Sunday Night Football. And I think the biggest storyline going into that game, there might be more Swifties at MetLife Stadium on Sunday night than Jets fans. The guy that I think isn't going to get the bank from the Jets is Breece Hall. They have to pay Garrett Wilson down the road. Sauce Gardner's going to get the bank. And again, running backs are expandable. So, to me, it's Breece Hall. And they're still paying Aaron Rodgers a shit ton of money. Number 22 is the Tennessee Titans. They're 1-2 coming off a loss against the Browns. Coming up for them, they are home against the Bengals in an interesting game. So the guy that I won't be shocked is on another team with the next 2 years is Malik Willis. They have two quarterbacks that are young on their team, Will Levis and Malik Willis. They can't keep both. And I think we've seen more of Malik Willis potential than Will Levis. And I think the old GM drafted Willis. Number 20 is the New York Football Giants. They're 1-2 on the year, coming off the Thursday night loss against the 49ers. Coming up for them, they host the Seahawks on Monday Night Football in a battle of two teams that overachieved a year ago. So the guy that I think will be potentially on another team within the next 2 years is Xavier McKinney. The case for that, they just paid Andrew Thomas all that money. They just paid Daniel Jones all that money. I think down the road they're going to have to take care of Kayvon Thibodeau. And I think the guy that's left out is Xavier McKinney. And then they're going to have to take care of Saquon Barkley, potentially. Number 19 is New England Patriots. They're 1-2, coming off the win over the Jets. Coming up next for them, they're at Dallas. The guy that I think could be left out of the bank from Bill Belichick and companies is Kyle Duggar. Whether it's Mac Jones or a different quarterback down the road, who knows? And then there's a lot of guys on that team that I think that the Patriots want to take care of. Like Ramondre Stevenson is a guy they really like. Cole Strange, the guard, I know they really like. And then they have the guard Adue that they like. So down the road, I could see Kyle Duggar. Jonathan Jones is another one. Jack Jones. And again, safety's not a position that... Listen, safety matters and running backs matter, but they're not as valuable as corners and receivers. Number 18 is the Indianapolis Colts. They're 2-1 in the year. This is one of the surprising 2-1 teams I'm a little bit higher on than others. Coming off the upset win over the Ravens. Coming up next for Indy, they host the Rams and an opportunity to go 3-1. The guy that I think might not see the bank from Indy is Kwity Paye. I initially had down Bernard Raymond here, but tackles are important. And maybe they pay Pittman. And they have to take care of Anthony Richardson down the road. So, I think the guy that's expandable here is Kwity Paye. 17, the Atlanta Falcons are 2-1 on the season. Coming off their first loss, they played poorly against the Lions. I know Desmond Ritter's probably not the future, so that's the obvious answer. But here's another fun one. Kyle Pitts. Yes, Kyle Pitts. They're going to take care of Bijan down the road. They're going to have to take care of Drake London down the road. And there's a lot of other young guys on the team they really like. And Pitts is just a weird player. I could see them trading him. 16's the Jacksonville Jaguars are 1-2 on the year, coming off the terrible loss against Houston. Coming up next for them, they are... I forget where Jacksonville... Oh, they're in London against the Falcons. That's ironic that I did them back-to-back. And then, like I said, the Falcons lost bad to Detroit. So the guy that I think may not see the bank from the Jaguars is Travis Etienne. Trevor Lawrence is going to get every dollar in the world that owner has. They're going to pay Josh Allen, the linebacker. They'll take care of him. And I think that they have a lot of money spending on Ridley and Kirk. So the guy left out is Travis Etienne. 15, the Los Angeles Chargers are 1-2 of the year, coming off the win over Minnesota. Next up for them, they host the Raiders with a chance to get back to 500. And the guy that's going to be on another team within the next few years is Kenneth Murray. He hasn't lived up to expectations. They just paid Justin Herbert. They just paid... or they're probably going to have to pay Rashawn Slater down the road. And they have a lot of expensive guys on that team. Number 14 is the New Orleans Saints. They're 2-1 on the year, coming off the loss against Green Bay. Next up for New Orleans, they host the Bucs. The player that I think it could be left out of the bank from the Saints is Trevor Penning. They're paying Derek Carr a ton of money. They're going to have to pay Chris Olave. They're going to have to pay Pete Werner. So I think the guy left out is Trevor Penning. 13's the Green Bay Packers are 2-1 on the year, coming off the comeback win over New Orleans. They host the Lions on Thursday Night Football. A good Thursday Night Football game. I'm excited for that one. And the guy that I think could be not seeing the bank from Green Bay is A.J. Dillon. They already have Aaron Jones. And they have a lot of veterans on that team that they're paying a ton of money. And I think, like I said, running backs are expandable. And Aaron Jones is more valuable to that team than A.J. Dillon. Number 12, the Cincinnati Bengals. They're 1-2 on the year, coming off their first win over the Rams. Next up for Cincy, they are at Tennessee in a tricky spot. And the guy that I think is going to be left out of the bank is T. Higgins. They just paid Joe Burrow. They're going to have to pay Jamar Chase. There's a couple defensive players that I think they like. And there's been T. Higgins trade rumors a lot, so T. Higgins is obvious. Number 11 is the Seattle Seahawks, are 2-1 on the year, coming off the win over Carolina. Next for them, they're at the Giants on Monday Night Football. The guy that I think could be on another team within the next 2 years is Kenneth Walker III. You think there's a reason why they drafted Zach Charbonnet? And running backs are replaceable. They just took care of Geno Smith and DK Metcalf. Jackson Smith and Jigba could be a guy they pay down the road. And then they have a couple of Tariq Woolen and a couple guys in the secondary they like. Jamal Adams is getting a ton of money, so Kenneth Walker, to me, is the odd guy out. Number 10 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're 2-1, coming off the win over the Raiders. Next up for them, they're at the Texans. Tricky spot for Pittsburgh. The guy that I think can be left out here is Najee Harris. Jaylen Warren's a guy I know they really like. And I won't be shocked if that's a platoon situation later in the season. They just paid T.J. Watt. They just paid Alex Highsmith, Kenny Pickett. They might have to take care of down the road. If he's on a Daniel Jones trajectory, in terms of he could have a season like Daniel Jones did last year, he's going to get paid. We'll put it that way. And I think he has a higher ceiling than Daniel Jones, too. So they're going to have to take care of Kenny Pickett. And like I said, Highsmith and Watt already gotten taken care of. And maybe they take care of Pickens down the road. So to me, the odd guy out is Najee Harris. Number 9 is the Detroit Lions. They are 2-1 on the season, coming off the win over Atlanta. Coming up, they are at Green Bay. Hard game. For sure, the guy that I think isn't going to see the bank from the Lions is Jameson Williams. Default pick because of his suspension and because he had the injury, so we really don't know what he is. And plus, they just have Jared Goff's money on the books. They're going to have to pay Aiden Hutchinson down the road. They're going to have to pay Amon-Ra St. Brown down the road. So obviously, that's the odd guy out, Williams. Number 8 is the Baltimore Ravens. They're 2-1 on the year, coming off the upset loss against the Colts. Next up for them, they are at the Browns. And that is a great game if everybody's healthy. The guy that I think can be left out of the bank is Tyler Linderbaum. The Ravens just paid Lamar. Ronnie Stanley's making a ton of money. They might pay Rashad Bateman down the road. And centers are important, but that's a position that you can conceivably replace as well. And then they just paid Marcus Williams a ton of money as well. So, to me, Linderbaum's the odd guy out. Number 7 is the Dallas Cowboys. They are 2-1 on the year, coming off the loss against the Cardinals. You could argue Ravens and Cowboys should be swapped because the Cardinals are worse than the Colts. But the Ravens have a ton of injuries, and that's why they're 8. And if they were healthy, they'd beat Indy, obviously. And you could argue if Diggs is healthy, the Cowboys beat Arizona. So Diggs is a guy they already paid. They're going to have to restructure a Dak deal down the road. They're going to have to pay Micah Parsons. They're going to have to pay CeeDee Lamb. But to me, the odd guy out is Tyler Smith. And then I almost put in the center, Tyler Biadasz, in this spot. Another Pro Bowler, but I think they really like him. So, to me, Tyler Smith could be the odd guy out. Number 6, the Cleveland Browns. They are 2-1 on the year, coming off the win over the Titans. Next for them, they host the Ravens. By the way, Cowboys lost at Arizona. Next for them, they host New England. So, Cleveland, to me, the odd guy out could be Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. All right, Deshaun Watson's making a ton of money. They paid Nick Chubb, even though he's hurt. And then there's a lot of free agent guys they paid. They might want to pay Greg Newsome down the road. Myles Garrett's making a ton of money. So the odd guy out here could be Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Number 5, the Buffalo Bills. They're 2-1 on the year, coming off the win over the Commanders. Next for them, they host the Dolphins in what is the game of the year so far. The guy that I think can be left out of the bank is James Cook. Running back's replaceable position. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs making a ton of money. Deion Dawkins making a lot of money. To me, James Cook could be the odd guy out. For Kansas City Chiefs, they are 2-1 on the year, coming off the win over the Bears. Coming up, the Chiefs and the Swifties take it to New Jersey against the Jets. To me, the odd guy out could be Isaiah Pacheco. Again, running back, replaceable position. They're paying Patrick Mahomes a ton of money. They're paying Travis Kelce a ton of money. They just paid Juwan Taylor in free agency at tackle. And there's a couple defensive guys I think they might look to pay down the road. Nick Bolton, Willie Gay. So, Isaiah Pacheco could be the odd guy out. Number 3, the Philadelphia Eagles. They're 3-0 in the year, coming off the win over the Bucs last night. Next up for them, they host the Commanders. And the guy that I think will be on another team within 2 years is Nakobe Dean. Linebacker, another position where it's not as important as defensive end or corner. They have a lot of guys to take care of. They took care of Jalen Hurts just now. They're going to have to take care of Devontae Smith. They're going to have to take care of Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. Jordan Mailata, I think, got paid too. So, and Landon Dickerson's another one they have to take care of. So, Nakobe Dean, to me, is the easy answer. Number 2, the Miami Dolphins. Coming off the big win over Denver. Next for them, they're at Buffalo in their biggest test of the season so far. Game of the year. It sucks that I don't think Nance and Romo are getting this game. They should. They should have moved this game to 425. But no, America's team has to play against a team that is not really that relevant anymore in the Patriots. All right, the guy, this is the other big one that I think will be on another team within 2 years. Jalen Waddle. This could be the Dolphins' version of the Tyreek Hill trade. They're paying Tyreek Hill a ton of money already. They're going to have to take care of Tua, obviously. They just took on Jalen Ramsey's money. Xavier Howard's making a ton of money. They're going to have to take care of Jalen Phillips as well. So, I would not be shocked if it's Jalen Waddle. Although Jalen Phillips would have been a good one for this too. But I think it could be Waddle. And number one, the San Francisco 49ers coming off the win over the Giants on Thursday Night Football. Next for them, they host Arizona. To me, the guy that could be on another team within the next few years is another Pro Bowler. Talanos Hufanga. So the case for him, I think they're going to want to take care of Brock Purdy. Christian McCaffrey making a ton of money. Deebo Samuel making a ton of money. George Kittle making a ton of money. A couple other guys on defense. Nick Bosa making a ton of money. So, Hufanga to me was an easy answer for the 49ers. So there you have it for this week's power rankings. Now we move on to news and notes for today. That was a fun one, making the case for some players to be on different teams, especially the ones that are on better teams and just simply can't afford them. Like the 49ers might not be able to afford Talanos Hufanga, for example. And the Eagles with the Kobe Dean, and maybe the Dolphins with Jalen Waddle if they give the bank to Tua and Jalen Phillips instead. So, the biggest story in sports right now is the Damian Lillard sweepstakes. The Raptors are gaining so much momentum to the point is that they entered the week as the favorites to land him. So there you have it. That was your Eastern Conference mystery team. They have the assets to do it. That team is still pretty good. They just had a bad year last year. But I know some of their depth goes away. They have more to trade than Miami does, that's for sure. So we'll see what happens there. Meanwhile, Scotty Barnes is not available in Dame talks. Toronto or Portland should be asking for Scotty Barnes. They can use somebody like Scotty Barnes on their team. But a ton of people think that Lillard's going to be traded by Monday's media day. As I think so too. I think he's going to another team before Monday. So this is the biggest story in sports. We'll see if the Raptors pull it off or not, and whether Scotty Barnes is in it or not. I think Portland should ask for him. And if Toronto doesn't give him up, it's a win for them. And then they're confident that they can get past the Heat too, and I'm confident as well. And a team that would have been in the Damian Lillard sweepstakes had they not signed Jalen Brunson a year ago, which turns out to be a decision that couldn't have gone better for the Knicks, because Jalen Brunson is just perfect for the Knicks. They promote Gerson Rosas to Senior Vice President of Basketball Operations. So that's interesting to have another voice in there with Leon Rose in the front office. Travis Kelce's jersey sales spiked 400%. As like I said, Taylor Swift fans are now Chiefs fans. No injury setback for Joe Burrow. He said today we got through it. He said that last night. Derek Carr week to week. But he's likely out against the Bucs. So that makes the Bucs live in that game against New Orleans, in my opinion. Because the Saints couldn't do anything once Derek Carr left the game yesterday. And Jimmy G's in concussion protocol. Ooh, Aiden McDonald against the Chargers potentially. Whoa. And but bad news for the Chargers. Mike Williams out for the season with the torn ACL. Just brutal for the Chargers. That did feel like a loss for them against Minnesota. And this is even worse because it's yet another excuse for Brandon Staley to remain the head coach of this team. Jamal Adams will make his season debut on Monday Night Football against the Giants. That's pretty cool. Josh Dobbs trolls Micah Parsons on TikTok from Parsons' BR stream after upsetting the Cowboys. So that is interesting. Matt Ryan rules out comeback despite the Jets rumors. Devontae Adams on the Raiders 1-2 start. He doesn't have time to just wait around for the Raiders to figure it out. Wow. I think Devontae is going to get traded potentially. I don't recall if I had him dealt, but that's certainly a guy that would fit nice on the Giants or the Chiefs. I do think Mike Evans or Devontae Adams will end up on Kansas City potentially. But obviously with the Bucs being 2-1 and potentially have a chance to be 3-1 on Sunday, I think that takes Evans off the board for now. So maybe it is Devontae Adams. A ton of baseball stuff with the playoffs coming up. Yankee Stadium was so empty yesterday for their final home game. Granted, it was because of the weather too. And the weather pushed them literally to rock bottom. Nobody cares about the Yankees' final home game. It looks like there was like 15 people at the game yesterday. It was really sad. But like I said, if it wasn't for the weather, it would have been nicer. And it would have been like your typical X-1000. Phillies pitcher Orion Kierkegaard had his dad in tears after recording 2 strikeouts. The Padres deny the dysfunction as Manny Machado pushes back on the narrative about San Diego. Obviously, there's dysfunction there, but they just, are trying to save face. How about this? Aaron Boone says he hasn't been told if he's coming back next year. He's gone. I've been saying this since June. He's gone. Brian Cashman, I think, is going to be gone too. I think he's going to resign. I don't feel strong about that, but I feel strong about Boone being fired. Like, he's the fall guy, obviously, as he should be. He really hasn't been a good manager throughout his tenure at the Yankees. His best season as Yankees manager, he was a finalist for Manager of the Year. They won the AL East, and they lost in 6 to the cheating Astros when Jose Altuve covered the buzzer on his shirt going around the bases with the infamous no on the camera. So I do think Boone's fired. Cashman, I think, ends up resigning because to me, he quit. Why did he not try at the trade deadline to get pieces at the deadline? If he really cared about his job, he would have went for it a little more and tried for guys that were moved at the deadline this year. And how about this? Rowdy Tellez says that Josh Donaldson wouldn't introduce himself in the clubhouse. Yikes. And Josh Donaldson is a big reason why the Yankees were so bad this year. And they got rid of him, and they used him and Aaron Hicks as fall guys. And obviously Hicks actually had some success with the O's. And obviously Donaldson's just a bum at this point. And nobody likes him. And I think they had to pretend to like him while he was in the Bronx. Tiger King calls out Jordan Travis and defends himself despite Jordan Travis beating both Clemson and LSU. And that was after he trolled Clemson and LSU. On this whole Travis Hunter situation, there's a text message sent to Travis Hunter. Or Travis Hunter texted Coach Prime about Colorado's first loss. And then Travis called out the Buffs haters, as fans are rooting for Colorado to lose. And I'm not surprised. Because there's people that don't like Deion. And I think Deion's a cocky guy, as I mentioned on the podcast. Texas with the big recruiting get. Number 1 offensive tackle, Brandon Baker. He took Texas over Georgia and Alabama. So Steve Sarkisian beats Kirby Smart and Nick Saban for recruiting. That's pretty cool. The Oilers and the Flames dropped new threads for the outdoor game, so that was pretty cool. Check those out. And then some NBA Suns were at Team USA camp. Bryce James, Kion Anthony, and Elijah Arenas are heading to the junior national team minicamp. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. So there's a couple that I like. There's a ton of baseball unders I really like. And there's some overs I like a lot as well. I'm staying away from the Rockies. I'm going to lay a quarter unit. And the over I like the most is there's a ton of them I really, really like. But the one I'm going to settle on is the Royals-Tigers over. Zach Greinke's been terrible this year. Olsen hasn't been good for the Tigers, so I'm going to lay a quarter unit over 7.5 between the Tigers and the Royals for my best bet of the day. Okay, that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything. Look ahead to everything. Tomorrow we have Masked Singer and Survivor tomorrow, so that should be a lot of fun. And then we have Dancing with the Stars premiering tonight as well. So we'll talk about some reality TV on the podcast tomorrow, so that should be fun. And we have the Ryder Cup too. So I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.